Hey everyone, we are the specialists of nothing who talk about pretty much anything and everything. And my name is Frank, and I'm here with my boys Danny and Joe, as always.
What
Way to
up?
hit that opening, Frank. Pretty
Pretty
much.
much.
He did it because he knows. He knows.
I just love to push his buttons any way that I can.
We kind of agreed, but I mean, if you're just gonna do it anyway.
I mean, so tonight's topic is myths and urban legends.
Mythical creatures, I guess you could say. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I mean, mostly for a lot of the stuff that we have prepared and stuff is mythical creatures. We do have some other myths and urban legends that are out there.
That we want to discuss. Yeah. Frank, why don't you give us Webster's dictionary version of a myth and an urban legend for the people out there who don't know?
All right, so Frank Pop's dictionary. Let's get that first right now.
Frank Pods.
All right, so a myth is a traditional story, usually explaining some natural or social phenomenon in early history of people, typically involving supernatural beings or events. Folklore genre consorting of narratives that play fundamental role in society. Main characters are usually gods, demigods, or supernatural humans. An
So
urban,
like the man, the myth, the legend type of deal. Okay.
yes, an
Thanks for
urban
bringing me up
legend.
there.
An urban legend is a fictional story that is rooted in modern popular culture. You can think of urban legends as today's folklore. Just like traditional folk tales, they're based on real parts of culture and often real people. However, in most cases, the details have been exaggerated, ultimately making these stories false.
Facts.
Which
No,
is funny because
false.
to
I
me
mean,
that
like
just
facts. Like, yeah,
to
that's
me that's just the
definitions.
same thing as myths. Then like how that they just did the same thing back in the day. You know what I mean? They just exaggerated stories, and then after time, people couldn't prove that it was exaggerated, so it became this like, oh, this was real back then.
Kind of, yeah. It's like passed down generation to generation. Um,
Exactly.
just to bring up real quick, what really piqued my interest about this topic was the movie Urban Legend when it came out. I think it was in 1998. You guys remember that movie?
No.
No.
What? Good movie. Really good movie. I'm not gonna get into it since you guys don't know, but Jared Leto was in
Probably
it.
should have mentioned it to us beforehand before we did
I
this. So
know
we
when
could
we
have
were
looked it up
going
a little
over a
bit,
couple
It's
things
part of
10
the
minutes
research.
ago.
You guys don't do research on this stuff. You just wing it. You're like, fuck
Definitely
it.
never heard of the movie called Urban
It's a
Legend.
good
Definitely one of
movie.
those movies that we probably should have seen, though, regardless.
So real quick, I'm just going to give it a synopsis of it. The movie is based on the killings of urban legends. So I'm not going to get into it. You guys haven't seen it, but it's a good movie. Check it out. And it has a lot to do with urban legends.
If you want to get into it, get into it.
Well, all right. So it brings up something. No, I can't.
Or
No,
don't
I'm
get
all
into
over the
it.
place. I'm not gonna.
Or
I'm not
don't, or
gonna get
don't.
into it. I'm not gonna get into
Or
it.
don't get into it.
Yeah, I
All
probably
right,
should do my
so
own research.
what's your guys' favorite urban legend story? Like something that you remember just growing up that you were like always interested in?
I'll be
Pirates,
honest.
man. Pirates.
That's
Yeah?
urban
Were
legend.
there like actual pirates, like Blackbeard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there was actual. I mean, I don't know if Blackbeard was literally a real pirate or not, but I know there were actual pirates out there that, yeah, like went around.
Actually,
and
Jack
robbed people and
Sparrow.
stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
No, Jack
There's
Sparrow
still
wasn't
pirates out there
real.
now.
Did
like, that
Johnny
go and,
Depp
like,
freaking take a time machine from then to now to play the role? But like, was
no,
that
but like,
legit?
there's definitely pirates. Like, there's ships that are out there that like rob container ships and stuff like that. That like, they're considered
Did
pirates.
they look
steal from
like the
people and
pirate
stuff.
ships that they portray in movies?
Not now, but they did
No.
back in the day.
Well, all right. First of all, Jack Sparrow is not a real pirate, and
Yeah.
but Blackbeard
sure?
was. Yes, this I did research on. Blackbeard was a real pirate. He's actually the most famous pirate. His name was Edward Teach,
Okay.
Edward Teach, I believe, also known as Blackbeard, and he was ruthless, ruthless. As I didn't know him personally, but I heard stories.
Weren't there a lot more like women famous pirates though?
I wouldn't say a lot more, but there were two of them actually.
Really?
Anne Bonny and Mary Read. They were both Irish pirates, and they were like best friends. They would go around looting other ships. But actually, a pirate, it's a little bit differently depicted as it is today. They would go around looting and robbing treasures and shit like that. They would like target ships and like the coastal borders where you'd go to like refuel and trade and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
Yes,
but did they have the cool jackets, the sword, the eye patch, the parrot, the monkey,
Well, not see
the
that
wooden
that's
leg.
a
the
stereotype
extended
of things.
telescope?
That's a stereotype of things to like the eye patch and this and that and like blah blah blah. There was ones that had stuff like that because over the years of basically think about it, all they are is poor thieves on the sea. Instead of being like a thief on land, like breaking and entering your house, they would find other ships that were coming by and go and rob them for whatever they could. Like that's literally the definition of a pirate.
They would.
So if like over time they went through like certain fights and battles so to speak or this and that when people would fight back and stuff, I'm sure that they would have injuries or people that like they don't have great medical stuff,
Yeah.
so like
Medic.
there was one that had to wear an eye patch or this and that after a while of like stuff
I'm
happening
sure.
to them and
Yeah.
stuff.
That a wooden
but
stump or shit hook for a hand.
but yeah, like the whole like pirate like costume like for Halloween, yeah, that's more made up. That's the myth or whatever part of it like from the storytelling. But like pirates themselves were basically just again thieves that went around on ships and like whatever. So yeah, there was
Interesting.
definitely a lot of famous ones.
A lot of pirates weren't in it
That'd be
for
awesome.
all that shit. They were just people who were down their luck that had nowhere else to go. So they would join a ship and they
Almost
would
like
just
how a fighter says like, oh, I couldn't do anything else, so I decided to fight. Like they had
right.
nothing,
And
no other options.
they would just become criminals, but they would
Mhm.
go around. They would loot like gold, silver, food, candles, spices, shit like that, cocoa,
just
cotton.
just like a lot of other people that turn to like criminal life and like whatever. It's just people that happen to live near the water that choose to do
Yeah.
it that way. You know what I mean?
But they did have like rules and regulations. They had like a guideline that they would follow.
Like
I
a
don't.
code.
Yeah.
So kind of like a pirate mafia.
Jameson was not a pirate, but Captain Morgan was, and I probably should have
Oh,
been drinking that instead.
Was Captain Morgan a pirate or was he like a
Yeah.
good captain?
I don't know, to be honest.
Davy Jones was real, right?
I don't know. I think Davy Jones was like an urban legend back then, where
So like the tale of Davy Jones' locker and like whatever. But
yeah,
I
shit
thought
like
he was
that.
a real pirate that died, and that's where the tale came from.
Um,
Didn't do the research on that one, did you?
well, clearly you didn't either. So, no, but that's like the same thing as like sea monsters and the Kraken and shit. Was that real, or was that just because of the unknown sea, ships would go missing, or they would leak? They would get like damaged and they would sink, and then the story would go that a Kraken had taken that ship under.
Well, because
So
like a lot of the names like Davy Jones or I forget the goddess that's in Pirates of the Caribbean, but I would say a lot of the references from Pirates of the Caribbean, I felt like Calypso. I was like, oh, I know a lot of these names. Like I feel like they used other references from like you knew from like stories and stuff when you were younger. So I feel like they were a lot of like pirate myths or urban legends. I don't know if they were real
Yeah.
pirates or not, but I believe they were stories back then. They weren't just from Pirates of the Caribbean, the movies.
No, I'm sure
What do-
Disney had a lot to do with the renaming and whatnot.
What about what is that book? The 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea or something like that?
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah, that
Whatever,
actually is
20,000
about a giant squid that submerged. Well, didn't submerge a submarine. Submarines usually submerged, but it captured the submarine and it swallowed the whole crew whole.
Gotcha.
I never read the whole book. It's very long. But I read the
Imagine
first
that,
couple
bro. A
chapters.
giant squid that could swallow your vessel.
That's
Yeah,
fuck,
that's
like
crazy.
sea monsters and shit. I don't know. Like think
Well, dude,
about.
I'm sorry.
Go
I know.
ahead. No,
I
go
know.
ahead.
No, I was sorry. I know. I
You
always
look
do this.
excited. You look excited.
No,
Tell us what you got to say.
no, but I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I know I always do this, but I saw a TikTok the other day that there was these people on a boat and there was a blue whale that just like went right underneath their boat, and they had like a normal like regular like 20-footer or like whatever. And this thing was so huge, and like watching the video, all I could think of exactly like you're saying about the squid. Like, could you imagine like how scared you would be just seeing something that large right next to you and possibly could just accidentally kill you? Like, not even mean to, like just because it was that big.
What's
Just
crazy
like
though
bump
is
your
like
boat.
you don't know what's out there. These people were sailing the seas, and
Yeah.
when you see this shit, I'm shitting bricks just thinking about it.
Mhm.
But like when I was a kid, and I would cross like to go over the Verrazano Bridge to go into Brooklyn, I would always look over into the bay, and I would always imagine like a fucking sea creature coming out of nowhere. Using my imagination, I'm like
Dude,
8,
I did
9
it
at
now
the
when I
time.
used on the construction buildings up top. I'd look down at the water and be like, please let me just see something. Let me just
Want
see something.
Godzilla to come
Like,
up?
yeah, of
Like, that'd be
course.
some shit.
Hell yeah.
But like so they have like the Loch Ness monster that's in what is that, Scotland, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken, like the Scottish Highlands and shit. And who the fuck knows? Are there creatures lurking in the deep that no one knows about what they call her, Nessie, right? The Loch Ness monster or whatever.
Well, I totally believe in Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's another one. Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally believe in Bigfoot.
Do
Like
you
if you're
really
talking about
believe
things
in
like that,
Bigfoot though?
absolutely, I believe in Bigfoot.
Like, is there only one Bigfoot? You think?
No,
Like,
I think that like Bigfoot or Sasquatches are like a certain amount of them, like it's like
but
a type of
why
group
is
or
it
whatever.
that there's animals that are extinct
I
that
feel
you
like they're
see a
close
lot
to
of footage
extinct.
of, and there's only a few of them. It goes the same for Bigfoot. Why the fuck haven't you seen any of these
Well,
Sasquatches
I
ever? There's no
I feel like
footage,
either they are
nothing.
close to extinct or now they are extinct, and maybe like back in the day they were still around and close to extinction or whatever. But I feel like at some point, like yes, Bigfoot and Sasquatch was a thing.
I don't
Isn't
know,
Big
Frank.
is Bigfoot and Sasquatch the same thing, or are those two different things?
No, they're technically like kind of the same thing. Like how the abominable snowman and the Yeti is the same thing. It's
Yeah,
kind of
okay,
like
okay.
Bigfoot and Sasquatch. They're like I don't know the exact definition, but it's pretty much the same.
It's crazy how you have like all right, so you have Bigfoot and Sasquatch. That's usually like North American, Canadian folklore, I guess, folklore.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the abominable snowman and the Yeti, they're very
Himalayans.
similar, but that's Himalayan
Well,
folklore.
it's just
So
because he lived in the snow and Sasquatch lived in the forest.
right,
So
but
they're
how are you
basically
gonna
like the
have
same type of like species, but like just like different, just like how we have like people that live, in like colder countries and like this and that.
right? But what I'm saying is, how are you gonna have a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch on one side of the world, and then the abominable snowman and the Yeti on the other side of the world, completely two different sides, and it's very similar, like it's the same thing. How is
Well,
that not a real creature though?
that's what I was
It's
gonna say.
super,
That's why I feel like it has to be a real creature because I feel like it was at some point out there. I feel like now they probably are extinct, and at the
Yeah.
end they were just so hard to see because exactly they knew they were getting extinct. Think about it like this: you're an animal that's close to extinction, but you're not smart enough to talk, but you're smart enough to understand things. So you understand that like your species is going. You've seen a lot of your other creatures die or like this and that. Are you gonna go near the creatures that
Nah,
are
you're gonna
the
run and hide
creatures
into
that are, you know
caves
what I
and
mean?
shit.
So I feel like
I'm
that's where the
hiding.
tail came from. Whereas like they were probably more popular towards like cavemen type of days or like this and that. And then as time went on and people came around, they stayed in the forest. They were the ones that weren't evolving type of thing. And I think that's why they were like so hairy or this and that. And I think that's where like it came into like they became like because again, myths and urban legends are exaggerated stories. So now you're talking about as certain people were coming out of caves and certain people were like, a lot of people don't like change. So think about it how back then, you know what I mean? Certain people are evolving, they're becoming more modern or cultured or whatever, and this and that. And then I'm sure there was certain cavemen or like whatever that didn't want to and stayed the way they were. And as those people lived in the forest, this and that, you get hairy, you get this, you get that.
Yeah,
And
but
then
after
that
how many
tail of those
years
people,
though?
well, I was to say, and then now the tail of those people, however more cultured we got, like not to say that they were like, obviously as far as long as us, but like they had houses now or they had this and that and like whatever. But then there was these certain creatures that didn't want to be like that, but they were still, human, so to speak, but they're hairy now because they're living in the wilderness or they're this and that, and they don't talk because they're not as educated or whatever it is. Now, years after they're becoming extinct, their story becomes exaggerated and they become the Sasquatches, the
True.
Bigfoots, the Bonos. So I think that's really how it came to. That's just my personal idea.
Joe, you ever see Frank when he doesn't shave?
Oh,
I could have sworn I see
It's
Sasquatch
him.
whenever I hang out with
telling
him.
you.
I'm like,
The
"Oh,
only reason I'm like this right now is because I tried to trim the other day and it accidentally like went too much and I just got angry and did it. But it's funny because Karen was so happy when she saw it. She was like, "Yes," she was begging me. She told me she was gonna cut it in my sleep. I told her, I said, "You better
she
not."
wasn't talking about the beard, bro."
Oh man, that was good.
No, but what's crazy is like, why is it that at this point, 2021, we don't have any type of archaeological facts or fossils or bodies or anything like that to show this species either being extinct or exterminated? They had to have some type of kids, even if they were hibernating for years.
Think about it. We do. If it's going by the theory like I just said, then it would be regular human bones or caveman bones or whatever. So how would
These
it tell the
motherfuckers are
difference?
tall. They're like 6 foot,
So
hairy as
if
shit.
motherfuckers in the NBA, you think people like that weren't around throughout time?
Bro, what if these Sasquatches that are hiding in the woods, if like one day they said, you know what, I'm tired of this. I could be a human, and they've blended in with us.
You mean like the guy from
Like
the
Harry
Geico
and the
commercials?
Hendersons.
Yeah, right. There you go. Exactly.
That's some shit.
And
Like the
now
guy in the
there's
Geico
just this
commercials is just
fucking
all
normal
upset.
people. You don't even know, man. You could be living among them right now.
I wanted to get back for a second. What were you talking about? Pirates earlier, I wanted to bring up mermaids because those kind of go hand in hand, or like sirens. Those
Can we
for-
just stick with mermaids? Like, where do sirens come
Yeah,
in?
what is
Well,
a siren?
Okay, so a siren. All right, so here's the difference.
Yeah,
Mermaids
tell them the
are
difference.
beautiful
You give us your
creatures.
definition.
Mermaids are beautiful creatures, like you'll see in Peter Pan and shit like that, where they're floating around harmless and they have beautiful faces and they sing very well. Sirens, on the other hand, are living closer to the shore, and what they would do is they would sing to the pirates in a beautiful voice. The pirates would get lured to them, and then the sirens would either capsize the boat that they're rowing on, or they would attack them, and they would lead the ship to like wreckages, or like, I'm sorry, the ships would become shipwrecked because they would be closer to the rocks and whatnot, and then the sirens would feed on the pirates.
So
So
sirens were
that's
bad.
I
So
mean,
it sounds you honestly, because I'm
Yeah.
thinking of Little Mermaid as you said mermaids. And
right.
it sounds just like Ursula basically. So she was like based on like a real thing
Well,
then
Ursula
too.
was an octopus, but yeah, if we're gonna get technical
Well, I know that
about
she
it,
was an octopus in the movie, but I'm saying like her character then as an
Yeah.
evil temptress or whatever you want to call it
yes,
was basically like the same thing then, because even the same, well, I mean, I know she stole her voice, but even same thing, it was like the singing and like whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you
that,
could do that. You can
that
bear
could have
that.
been their kind of turn on that.
But I feel like whenever someone hears mermaid, they think of like an innocent, beautiful creature, non-violent,
They're nasty.
seashell
Nasty
bras and
fucking
shit.
things.
But check this out. A couple of years ago, I don't know if you guys saw this clip, but it was on the news. Some guys were deep sea diving in like the
Bro, it was on Nat Geo. I know
That's
exactly
what it
what you're about
was.
to talk about.
Yeah.
Was
and
that real even, or was that fake?
We'll never know. You won't know. But
What
there
But it was
a-
on Nat Geo. Nat Geo,
But-
I think they got so excited that they told these guys, yeah, we'll air it. And it ended up being fucking fake.
Well, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, they were in one of these smaller submarines that only hold about 3 or 4 people, and they were doing an inside the submarine recording of mermaids or whatever the thing was. And what had happened was something swam past the glass, put its hand on the glass, and you saw 4 fingers with webs and look in and then like swim away. It was one of the
It
creepiest
was so
things.
fast though, and it was kind of
It could have been
blurry.
CGI. I mean,
Just
I don't
like
know.
everything
Listen,
that
same thing
Nowadays
with
it's
Bigfoot.
is
harder to
urban
tell,
legend.
yeah.
Any
There's
video
no-
footage is always blurry.
I was
See-
just gonna say, there's no legit pictures of it. Everything's always blurry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
See, I was gonna say this earlier though, because when I'm glad you went back to like this, because when we were talking about oceans and stuff like that, like even nowadays we still don't know like 90% of what's in the ocean. Like we haven't seen a lot of what's in the water. So I totally believe that mermaids could totally exist, but that specifically sounds like it could have been something that was like fake, like
I don't
CGI.
know. I
or something
mean,
like that.
it
'Cause again,
Joe's
just
right.
like-
It happened so quick where it was like the mermaid came up to the glass, put her hand on it, and swam away.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. They do it on purpose like that in videos like that. So exactly, you can't tell if it's real or fake or not and stuff like that. But I feel like mermaids are just like how we were talking about the Yetis or like this and that. Like they don't want to be seen. And if we haven't seen
No.
90% of the water already, like it's easy for them to still stay hidden. That's a creature that I feel like
Yeah.
eventually we could end up finding if we do explore more of the oceans and stuff.
Those bones. Actually, there is a picture or a video on YouTube that I saw. It was a quote unquote washed up mermaid, and it was a skull, just a skeleton with like long, I guess you want to say like netty hair, if you will, and fins. And the fins legit had scales, and it looked so legit, bro. But then again, it could have been a model, it could have been
Yeah.
like a 3D sculpture, whatever the case is. That's some shit where there's a lot of things that wash up on the shore. There's recently been stuff that washed up in Japan that no one has ever seen before. They have these giant ass animals or creatures with like huge eyes and like fucking 300 teeth. The deeper and darker you go into the ocean, the more weirder shit there is, because it's so dark down there, they have to adapt to it. Like there's that one fish, I don't know what it's called, but it's got the long ass antenna with the light, and it only blinks just for a couple seconds so it can see where it's going. But again, like
What is it? An
bats-
angler? It's an anglerfish.
Is that what it is?
Pretty sure.
I don't know. Like bats, a lot of the animals down there use sonar, or like dolphins. Dolphins are supposed to be ridiculously smart and they can use telekinesis. I don't know. Maybe that's how mermaids communicate with each other or some shit. I don't know. Could be wild, but that is pretty interesting. I like that.
Do you know where, or I'm sorry, you know who was the first person to sight a mermaid?
No.
That boy Christopher Columbus was pirating across the Spanish seas in 1943.
Wait, are
And
you
he
just
was
saying
the
that, or is it?
first guy. He was the
Wait.
first man.
Time out.
No way. There was definitely people
Wait.
sailing
Let's
No,
back
no,
up
no,
for a
no, no.
second.
and
This
stuff.
is
Stop.
facts.
Joe, you just said when Christopher Columbus sailed in
That
1943.
boy, yep.
You mean 1943?
Oh, 1493.
I was gonna say, like, there was
Columbus sailed
definitely
the ocean
people.
blue in 1492.
1493. That boy, Christopher Columbus.
Damn, you guys go to school?
I was gonna say,
or
he
what?
said 19. I was like, there was definitely people
You
sailing
know
way
exactly
more
what I
before that.
mean,
What are you
okay?
talking about?
Do I ever
I
know
was
what
like,
I'm talking about?
Okay, World War One. We explored the world. World War II. That's how it went down.
Oh,
Christopher
Go ahead,
Columbus
Joe.
was there
Tell
for
us
that
about
too,
you
man.
and your boy Columbus.
I just did. That was my trivia for the night. Who was the first person to sight a mermaid?
Well, it was Chris. Now, how was it? Was it documented in a journal or something? Or
I'm
Was it
sure he
Photoshop?
had a journal with him on his ship.
do you guys both believe that mermaids are real?
I think
No.
mermaids could be real. I do.
Joe
I think
doesn't
mermaids
believe
could
in
be real.
anything.
Bro,
I don't
Joe-
believe in any of this stuff.
You don't believe mermaids?
Where is it? Show me the proof. This
What I'm
is
saying,
it. Since
if
1493, we don't have one solid proof.
But since
picture, video of
1493,
anything.
in 600 years, we still don't know 80 or 90% of the ocean that we haven't seen because we can't go that deep and like stuff like that. You don't think it's possible that like
I could see where Joe's
No.
coming from with his doubts because, like I
if
said
sharks
earlier,
and this and
the
that can go
ocean
down
is.
there and we can't, why can't mermaids
Bro,
stay down
first
there?
of all,
Wait.
What if there really
There's a
is-
lot of
what if
pressure
there
down
is-
there. It's hard for them to
Exactly.
live. That's correct.
no
What if
mermaid
there
is
is,
going to
like, the
stay
point
that
of
low
where-
forever and never come up to where
But
somebody's
I was just
not
gonna
going to
say,
see them.
what if it gets to the point of like where we can't get us too deep because of pressure, and right where you pass that, that's where Atlantis is. Like all of a sudden it opens up and like it's like Atlantis. Why would they
Like
want to
an air
leave there?
bubble?
Why would not even an air bubble? I'm saying like underwater,
Atlantis
whatever. Why
itself
would
is
you want to
another-
leave a golden palace of a place
I wouldn't.
completely safe underwater?
I'm gonna go
You
there.
know what I mean?
Because it's
If
fake.
other fish and sharks could swim
Bro,
down
Atlantis
there
is
and you
not
can eat
fake.
forever, I don't think Atlantis is fake. I don't.
Atlantis is real. We should
Definitely.
have a fucking full blown conversation about that sometime.
Bro, there was
that is some wild
this
shit.
ride
right now,
in-
it's
so
fake.
when I lived in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
When I lived in Vegas, there was this ride that was like something to Atlantis or whatever in Caesar's Palace, and it was like a 3D ride. And I did it like 12 times, and no joke, every time I did it, I was like, I hope they find this one day because I would love to be able to see this place. It's so beautiful the way
It
they talk
is.
about it, and like, I hope it's real. I hope it's real. I don't know if it is or isn't, but I hope it is.
Me too. I hope these things are real, but
How could you hope
just-
it's real
I
when
was
every
just gonna
time
say,
you're
got
like,
no
no, it's
faith
not.
on it.
It's not real. I
Bro,
hope it is,
it's
but it's
just
not.
facts, man. There's nothing. There's nothing. We're in such an advanced part of living and life nowadays that come on.
See, I don't think so. Like, well, I mean, I think we are, but like, so I don't know if I've said this before on here, but I've talked about this
Come
with other
on.
people. When we talk about like aliens and stuff like that, like they automatically assume that aliens like would, you know, be smarter than us and this and that. But what if aliens or other planets are just what they are? Aliens, meaning that they're just from another planet, but their technology isn't as advanced as ours or smarter than ours or whatever. So they can't travel through space as well or whatever that people think. Yeah. And that's why we
Here's
haven't
the
seen them or
thing.
whatever.
Here's the thing on that real quick. So planets, just in our solar system, every planet has different gravity, right? Like you go on the moon, if you jump, you're going to jump 15 feet instead of 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? There are some planets specifically in our solar system, but also far out there that have zero gravity or very high dense gravity. So
Mhm.
the higher the gravity, they're going to have, I'm sorry, the less gravity they have, they're going to be smaller bones. They're going to be able to be larger, bigger because they can adapt to the environment. The more dense gravity, they're going to think of like a rhinoceros, how its bones are very dense and very heavy and it can't jump far. It's going to be like that. So, Joe, there could be alien life on
Yeah.
other planets. It doesn't necessarily have, they all have to have spaceships. We don't even have spaceships. And we've been,
Well,
we've
we're
been-
just starting to. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Like,
gonna
how do we know
save
that
my
other-
opinion and my comments on this for that specific episode because
Yeah, we are getting
That's-
into that
alright.
too much. But I'm just saying, like, if there's
you,
there's definitely a possibility
know?
for all these things. If we haven't seen all of these areas, like for mermaids, for aliens, for this, that, you can't tell me you don't think that there's a possibility that it's still out there.
a
Like,
possibility. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
like,
because you don't
possibly,
know.
yeah,
for
I'm not
fact.
saying it's a
possible.
definite, but like the chances of it being possible are high. Like,
Well, all right. So here's something that's crazy when it says the possibility of possibilities. Think about this. You guys are big fans of Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I have not watched it.
What?
Wait. I haven't watched
Why
it
are
in
you
its
even talking
entirety.
about
Yeah, I
this
was saying
then?
you can't even
Because
comment on it. Then you're not
I'm
allowed.
not, okay, let
The
me
followers
fucking
will tell you you're not allowed.
all right, I'll back the fuck up. And I'm not gonna talk about Game of Thrones. I'm talking about the era of Middle Ages where there was dragons
Yeah.
and fucking castles and vampires and shit like that.
Were there
Yeah, but-
dragons though?
Yeah, I would say dragons
This
are
is
an
what I'm
urban myth
saying.
though too.
But yeah, but so is Godzilla. But a Godzilla is just a radiated form of an iguana.
But that's
So
what I
who's
say.
to
Like
say-
dragons were like things that I believe that were like smaller and like whatever. But I don't think they were like how they were in stories. I'm pretty sure they were
Maybe
just
not, but
fake myths.
there's again, there was so many stories or myths that are brought down from the time of dragons, and it wherever you go, different cultures for the most part, they all look the same. They all have the same type of abilities, and they're all pretty much either extinct now, slayed, or fucking I don't know, hibernating in caves. You know, that'd be some shit. Imagine you see a fucking dragon flying across Manhattan one day.
I wish, but never.
I just feel like that shit's crazy. Like dragons are dope because I just think that an animal like that cannot be slayed by a human with a sword and a shield, you know? But then again, were they hunted for extinction? Was there such thing as what is the mother of dragons and shit from Game of Thrones? All you things, whatever you like. Did they breathe fire?
You don't
Is it
even
like
know what
Godzilla?
you're talking about.
So then, Joe, do you know what
Godzilla
you're
is
talking?
Godzilla real?
No, God, no. He was just a made up like.
That
movie.
doesn't count. Oh, okay.
No, he was just a made up movie. He wasn't like an actual myth or anything. But how about so one thing we didn't get into or anything like that is vampires.
Joe's big on vampires.
Count Dracula, my boy.
It's my Doge.
So
It's
what's
my
the
God.
exact? Give us because I guess we all do a definition now. So what's the exact?
Why do I have
what
to
are-
give a definition about it? Who doesn't know Count Dracula and vampires?
Well, I mean-
Twilight put the whole
Twilight?
world into the
Oh no!
world of
So
vampires.
people know exactly what a vampire is, but like where did it come
Oh,
from and this and that. So
They're
like,
creatures of folklore, subside by feeding on the vital essence of the living. European folklore, vampires are undead creatures that often visited loved ones and caused mischief and death in the neighborhoods they inhabited while they were alive.
okay.
And now they are back only at night to feed on your blood.
So wait, those you believe in?
Suck your blood.
No, I don't believe in vampires.
You don't think that
at
either?
all whatsoever.
I actually
So,
that's one thing
alright,
I don't believe in either. I
well,
don't think
No,
any-
but I am
yeah.
very fascinated in it. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
I think the tale
just
of
for
it,
the fact that like is Blade really out there? You know what I mean?
But this is the thing: it's vampires from
He says
Count Dracula
Blade really
all the
out.
way to Blade have such a like long longevity between them. So these vampires can be kept young, and they can adapt and turn into a normal human-looking creature at this point by feeding on blood. People go missing all the time, and I'm not saying like, oh, in Transylvania there was an abundance of people missing, and then this one vampire took over the whole shit. But like, there's such thing. There's got to be some type of thing of people feeding on blood to stay young. That's a whole nother shit stove we'll get into another time. But I think that if it's
there's
possible,
actual people. It's like a taboo. People drink blood because they think it makes them stay young
It
and
does.
healthier.
Yeah.
It's actually very bad for you.
Well, not even that. I seen like something.
my
on
doctor says
YouTube.
2 to 3 pints a day.
I seen this thing on YouTube though recently where like it was like some conspiracy stuff, but like it was like where they were talking about these people that were looking for this certain thing in children that like before they hit a certain age and like extracting it.
Adrenochrome.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So you know what it is too. Yeah.
I know
We
all
talked
about
about this
Who
before.
just
right?
talked about this with
Yeah,
me
we
the other
did,
day?
right? I was
Fake.
saying,
So
I've heard that people,
ridiculously-
I'm not saying that it would work, but there's people that actually tried it and to see if it would really work. Personally, I feel like vampires are just a story that have always been told. I don't think they were ever really real though. Like I don't know. Like that's to
don't
me
know.
Oh
is
man, you see those
'cause
castles
if you
they
say
build?
vampires are
Yeah.
real, that means like supernatural creatures are real. Like that means
Bro,
like
this
Spider-Man
world-
and stuff like that could be possible. You know what I mean? I don't think vampires are actually like I don't know. That's just
I don't know.
Like
I
you think
mean,
really like
but this is
garlic
what's
and
crazy
onions
about
make-
it. Yeah, like that's the only way to kill them, or like they're resilient to garlic and you got to stab them with a wooden spike and
I
shit.
can never
Throw
have
holy
a
water on them.
vampire over my house for dinner, man. I cook everything with garlic.
Bro,
I would immediately put them to death.
I smell your breath from here, dude.
You know there are other ingredients besides garlic, Monica. No, but yeah, I don't know.
But shit like that's crazy because
That's
like they would decapitate these vampires in order to kill them, but at the same they would bury them at the stake, and then which leads us into witches. You know,
yeah.
you're gonna sit there and tell me that witches are not real? There's got
Well,
to
I'm
be
not
some
saying
type
witches
of
aren't not real
way.
because that's different. Witches are
Oh,
different from
witches aren't
vampires.
real. Okay, so witches are real, but
I mean,
you
let's
draw
get
the
into
line
witches real quick.
you
Well,
draw the
witches
line
and
at
vampires are
vampires.
different because vampires is saying like
Two
they had,
totally
like,
different things.
yeah, like they had different abilities. Like vampires, like it was just different. Like exactly, they could stay young and like they, I don't know, it was just different. They had the fangs, like, and all kinds of stuff like that were like different. But
These teeth.
witches were just people that like casted spells or like believed in magic and certain things like that, and like a certain
Well,
style
that's
of
like
living, or were more
dark magic
spiritual.
and shit like
Do
that.
you
Yeah,
believe
That's
in
what I'm
any of that
saying. Like,
shit? Witchcraft?
I do believe in witchcraft.
Hell
I
yes.
do believe in that also, actually. That's one thing I
Oh,
can.
that's what you
We
fucking
got
believe
one
in.
thing.
You
There
found my
go.
sweet spot.
That's something we should do an episode on. How about that? Because
This
that's
kid's
something I
been
would
to
love to talk
Salem,
about.
Massachusetts, and
That's it. I've been to Salem. I know all about witches.
I've always wanted to go to New Orleans because I heard there's a lot of stuff down there. And Karen actually
voodoo
met with a
shit
couple of
like
her
that. Yeah.
girlfriends. And yeah, there's supposed to be like a lot of stuff like that, voodoo and stuff like that down there. And I'm totally into all that. I never really used to be until like more recent years, but I now I am.
All right, so you guys believe in witches, but you don't believe in any of the shit we just named before. None of that
I
stuff.
do, not him. I do.
Pretty
Yo,
much.
no such thing as dragons, no Bigfoot, no Loch Ness
Nope.
monster. There's pictures of these, blurry, but they're pictures. Have you ever seen
Bro,
witchcraft,
okay,
Joe?
let me
Joe,
just.
let me
No,
ask
no,
you
no,
a
no, no,
question.
no, no, wait.
Have you ever
what?
been has anyone ever casted a spell on you? Has anyone showed you their magic wand?
Maybe.
Harry
maybe.
Potter up in this bitch?
I have a lot of Harry Potter wands, actually.
Are you a witch?
I'm tatted by the man himself. See that? That's the dark
Death
mark
Eater.
right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
but
all
All
in.
right. So go ahead, Frank. Joe, tell me about these. Tell me about witchcraft and why you believe in witchcraft.
I don't know, man. It's just there's such a big history about it. There's proof. There's,
What's the proof? Show me the proof.
what do you mean show you the proof?
Show me the money. Where?
No,
How is there
this
proof?
okay. So when I say there's proof, I don't mean like there's physical, but like there's a lot of stories.
when,
like a
when
lot
I say there's proof, I don't mean there's
of,
physical proof. I
a
just mean
lot of people died, and like real people who really practice witchcraft and all that shit back. And I don't know dates because you know me, I'm not good with
1600s.
dates. So
well,
in
there
the
was too many
1600s,
coincidental incidents.
incidences, and
Well, not even witchcraft is
sorry,
different.
hold
It's
on.
not something you're actually
Coincidences?
gonna see. You know what I mean?
No.
Like compared to talking about like actually seeing a vampire,
But like
whatever. Like
real
witchcraft
people
isn't something you would
died,
actually see. You know what I mean?
and they were accused of it, and there was a lot of proof, like all these witchcraft books and setups that they do, like with the circles and the fire
Different
and the
spells
this and
and
the
shit.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about like spiritual healing and stuff like that? You
So
don't
I
believe in
don't,
stuff like that? Zeke?
I'm not saying,
I
there's
believe in this
actual
shit.
witches who
Oh.
could fly on a broom or cast a spell and something happened. But you never know. There was a lot of people that practice it, and again, there's a lot of coincidences that followed along with what they were practicing. I don't know. It's just it's fun to follow and to
So,
believe that there could be something, because again, that's all spiritual stuff.
Okay, but now
So
do you
spiritual
believe
stuff is different.
Yeah.
is this now is considered dark magic? So do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic?
I mean, when
I
you're
mean,
talking about like magic,
I
like
actually
magicians, that's all
do.
just.
I do believe in magic because magic is kind of like science. You understand? And you could do a lot of things with science, bro. You could add chemicals together and make smoke and do this and do that.
You
And
can make smoke, bro.
You know
he's
what
kind
I'm
of going where I was gonna
saying,
say,
bro?
because I was gonna say
Yeah.
like magic is more like if you're talking about like magicians and this and that, it's optical illusion. So
Well,
it's things
that's
that you do to make
right.
something appear like one thing to another. But
That's
like
the difference between
in the
But as
sense
far
of
as
magicians and
magic, where I
though.
snap my
was like,
fingers and
yeah.
I'm over there now,
But in
No,
the sense of
I
like
don't believe
magic,
that.
like dark magic, that's different. That's more of like a, oh my god, something happened that this person said would happen, or that this was said. It was belief, and then believing if that's true or not. Because that's like saying like, I believe in conspiracy theories or I don't, or whatever. Like I believe in black magic or I don't. Either it was coincidental and you don't believe in it, or it was like, oh my god, this person said this was gonna happen and it did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when it comes to witchcraft and dark magic, I feel like those are kind of one and the same. Voodoo, on the other hand, I don't want to say is too far off from it because people especially in New Orleans back then, did practice voodoo, but I don't know what the difference would be between dark magic, witchcraft, and voodoo. I do know that there have been instances where people have been cast under spells, whether like a love spell or something like that, where it's not like they're hypnotized and they can't understand or see what they're doing, or they don't know what they're doing, but that you ever get like a little inclination, like, oh, let me go down this road instead of this road, something like that, where it alters your, I guess, perception of where your path is going to lead. Could be under, witchcraft of some sort. There's been tons of talk about it. Voodoo, like voodoo dolls.
Oh, well,
If you have enough of someone's personal belongings, you could cast a spell onto this voodoo doll, and whenever you pinch it, that person's going to get hurt. Is that real? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so I'm looking it up now. Like, voodoo and black magic is kind of the same thing. They're spells and what was the thing? Hold on.
Because like we'll get to what you're saying, but while you're doing that,
Well, so there's spells
okay,
or
we'll come back to me later.
Sorry, there's spells or supernatural powers that for evil, selfish purposes. So, like same thing, like a voodoo doll or casting a spell over someone that did something wrong to you to say that something bad's gonna happen to them or like things like that. That's all voodoo and black magic in the same like thing together.
But now,
I forgot what the third one you mentioned is.
Witchcraft.
Okay, so I don't know how witchcraft.
So, like for instance, let's say you have a couple who's infertile and they've tried everything, they've done all the science, all the doctors, and they're like, you will never have a baby. They will then turn to either a witch doctor of some sort, and that's not always necessarily a dark or an evil thing. A witch doctor is most likely holistic, or someone who uses more natural herbs and shit like that to get things going. Essential oils, maybe, people who work in the store East meets West in the mall, shit like that. But they will turn to this witch doctor, and this witch doctor will assist them in things of the nature of trying to get pregnant. And then coincidentally, they will become fertile and they will have a child. So there's been reports on this. I have seen something in the past about it. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I do remember reading something about this. And people would turn to that as an alternative, I don't know. That's just crazy shit. Like American Horror Story Coven, that covers all that shit. If you guys have not seen that season, watch that season.
Such a good show. Such a good season.
By the way, American Horror Story needs to step their shit up.
Yeah.
There's certain seasons that I really liked, but certain seasons that I
first five, that's it. Done.
I didn't like, the summer
1984.
Yeah, the camp one or whatever. I didn't like that one.
Waste of time.
I liked the hotel one though, like the
It's funny you bring that up because about adrenochrome. You know what? Let's save that for another time.
But no, like the house one, the first season, and then the
Murder House, Asylum, Coven. Top 3.
No,
Roanoke was pretty good.
I liked
and
Coven.
After that, I'm good.
I liked Coven. I liked the one with the haunted hotel where like the serial killers were dead.
Yeah.
And, like,
nope. Does nobody like Freak Show?
And
Freak
I
Show
didn't
was
like
amazing.
Freak Show that much.
You know what?
Coven was definitely my favorite though. Murder House was good. I'm trying to think of the other one that I liked. I forget, but honestly, it is a good show. But yeah, they have good seasons and bad seasons.
What we're trying to associate, American Horror Story with is that they did have a lot of voodoo. They show witchcraft, and it can be used for good or
so all American Horror Story. I don't know about the past couple of years with what they came out with, but that's all based off of shit like real characters, real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
real events,
urban
like myths and legends.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because like that Hotel Cortez was a real hotel. It's not called the Cortez, but it was called something else. That's a real hotel. Yeah. So how about this? What about like different, like, because we're talking about a lot of and I guess a lot of it is more like, because so I was gonna say we're talking a lot about
one big one that I want to talk
people about. But yeah, so like other like different things was like Bloody Mary when I was a kid, like
urban legends. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like, so other urban legends that like, because I'm thinking these are like mythical creatures and stuff, but like I guess Bloody Mary is kind of the same thing, or like the Men in Black, or like all this stuff. But they're more like stories. They're a little different, so like it's not an actual person that it was based off of. But Bloody Mary,
that shit, Bloody Mary.
Did you guys ever do Bloody Mary as a kid?
Really?
I
did you do it?
Bro.
I did it a few times. I was never scared of it.
I did it handfuls of times.
Bloody Mary and the Candyman are two things I will not say.
Fuck you up?
why did it fuck me up? First of
Yeah.
all, I'm like 8 years old when I heard about this shit. I watched the Candyman, and I'm not trying to go down that road again. Okay. But in the past, I was at my friend Steve's house when I was back in the day. I was like 8 years old. There was a community pool. And what had happened was kids were mean, man. I'll
One
start with
second.
that.
1 second. Go ahead.
All right. So what had happened was we're all chilling out the pool. It's a community pool, and there's like the bathrooms and the locker rooms and shit like that. It was me, Steve, his friend Antonio and Calvin, and maybe one other kid. I don't know. We watched the Candyman, and then we went to the pool. Oh yeah. And so I'm shitting my pants because first of all, I'm 8 years old watching the Candyman. I was scared shitless. They're like, all right, go in there, shut the lights, say the name, and then we'll see what happens. I didn't want to do it. And at the time, my best friend, I was like, yo, Steve, I'll do it if you do it. He's like, all right, we'll do it. Fucking goes in. He and I go in. We shut the lights. After we shut the lights, he fucking leaves and they lock the door on me. I'm screaming like a little bitch because I'm not trying to see any type of ghost. So no Candyman up in this piece. I just seen it. I'm shaking. I'm terrified. I'm fucking banging on the door and they're flickering the lights outside. Bro, let me tell you something. There was somebody in the stall taking a shit. I didn't know about it. And the guy goes, cut that shit out. I fucking shit my pants, bro. I ripped the door open. I ran back
But
outside.
so nothing really happened that was to the sense
I
of
didn't
like,
say
the story,
it. I'm not
but
going
like,
to say it and look in the mirror. No.
Nothing ever
wait,
happens
so
when you do
you
it.
never
Not
said
fucking
Bloody
with-
Mary in the mirror ever?
No.
Wow.
Go do it right now.
Wait,
Blow
do you
me.
believe
I'm
in
not
Ouija
doing that
boards?
shit. What?
Do you believe in Ouija boards?
I've never fucking a Ouija board, bro. That's some
Ever?
shit
I
I
have
don't fuck
too,
with.
and that's
No,
another
bro.
thing. I don't think
See, I've
those
done
fucking
it.
things-
Nothing's ever happened. I've done it a few times because I've wanted to see if something would happen. Like me and my sister were like really into that stuff and always wanted to see what happened. Karen wouldn't let me do it. She won't even like I wanted to. So
I don't blame her.
one day we were at Oyster Fest in Oyster Bay when I lived over there, and there was like the street like convention and stuff. They have a lot of vendor stuff. So there's like this old toy store that had like 3 tables out front, and they had like this old used Ouija board.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like a new or
I'll
whatever.
buy
It was like
that.
an old, like you know how like you see in Jumanji, they find it was like an old used where the board or the box wasn't even like great shape and like whatever. And I wanted to
Was it
buy it.
coming to you?
I was like, I want to buy this. I want to buy this and go try it because I feel like if I'm ever gonna find a Ouija board that works, this might be like the one. And Karen would not let me buy it. She's like, "You're not bringing that to my house. You're not bringing that back home to my house," because she really believes in that stuff and she didn't want like any.
Somebody
bad
else
spirits or
bought that
something.
Why
Ouija
would
board, and now they're
Why
trapped.
would you bring
in
that
an
shit home?
alternate universe.
No, hell no. Hell
That was
no.
before I had
Thankful
kids,
for
though. Don't even say that because
That
it
was
was before I
okay.
had
You
kids.
know where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, it was before
Like-
I had kids.
Fucking Annabelle and all that shit. I don't fuck with dolls. I don't fuck with old ancient
you
games.
believe in all that stuff too?
Bro, it's a matter of possession. That stuff can happen. There's been like reports about demons possessing people's bodies. And
So
again, that
that-
doesn't have to be like a demon at the end of
No,
your bed.
I
but it's like
believe in, like,
another
Basically
world
exorcism.
creature.
Yeah, I believe in
Exorcisms
stuff
are
like
real,
that, and I
dude.
believe in spirits. I wanted to see whether it was good or bad. I mean, obviously, I don't want something bad to come, but I just wanted to see if there was something that would to prove that there really is something out there. Like like obviously, I'm not trying to move the thing, and my sister isn't either. We wanted to see if there was just something that would really answer, or
Do you believe in exorcisms?
hell yeah,
Exorcisms are real.
hell yeah,
Yeah.
possessed people,
Bro,
hell
the
yes.
Vatican.
There have been so
I know.
many
I've
real
seen.
factual
I've
cases.
heard. I
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
but
No, that's definitely a
all
real
right, so
thing.
you don't believe. All right, so you
the devil is in your body.
I mean, I don't know if it's as far as that, but I believe possession is
Possession
real.
can be
People's
real.
minds
Yeah.
But
snap to
possessed by
believe whatever
what?
thing.
some type of demonic
Sickness?
being, a
Yeah, like-
spirit
I
of
don't
something.
know. I just think someone's sick and it's something in their brain.
I believe it's
Makes
a
them act
so we
out
should
of
just
it.
give them a lobotomy and call it a day.
No, I believe it's a
I'm not
combination of
saying
both. Like sometimes it's one way, sometimes it's the other way, depending on the situation. Sometimes it
so-
is where the person's brain is snapped. Sometimes I believe that it is some spiritual thing. Because I'm sorry, there's a lot of, again, coincidental spiritual cases where like, how the do you explain shit like that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know why I just
Unexplainable
bleep
shit.
myself either. I don't know.
It's late, man. It's late, man. You got that edit button going on. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so you guys have or have not done Bloody Mary or Candyman in the mirror with the lights off,
The
with
Bloody
the candle
Mary.
lit.
I've
You
done
have?
Bloody Mary a few times.
Yes.
Joe, this is why you have so much bad luck in your life, man.
You know why?
Yeah, you
If
can
you
say
really
anything
think
for
about it,
me.
yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe in that shit. Meanwhile, I'm missing.
Meanwhile, you're-
Foot.
You got shit going on, man. He's like, yo, I put $100 down. It's gone now. Alyssa
That's
comes home with a
funny.
new bag.
Why is this happening to me?
He said,
Because you fuck
From
with
when I did Bloody
too
Mary
much.
10 years ago.
See? Look at me, man. I'm
That's
over here
funny.
chilling with JMO and no Bloody Mary. But don't get me wrong, the Bloody Marys are a delicious drink on a Sunday morning. I will whip the shit up out of that. If y'all want some of that, we get that going. Okay, so then this is a little off topic, but no, it's not off topic. It's just a different topic, I guess. Do you guys remember those chain mails that we used to get when AOL first started? It was like, if you don't send this to 10 people, your grandmother's gonna, die or something
I
crazy
still
like
see
that.
those. Like if you don't,
still
you could
see
send
them.
this to 100 people, and you'll
And
win
get
$1,000 tomorrow. And yeah,
It was scarier back then because it was like, if you don't send this to 10 people, this is gonna happen by midnight. Bro, I'm shitting my pants because
then he's like, I gotta send it to one more person in 3 minutes.
I was the person who would send it. Anybody who's listening, I'm sorry if you guys got any of those from my old AOL screen name.
They're not listening because you already pissed them off so long ago.
They were like, no, fuck this kid. I know him. He sent me a chainmail one time. But it was fucked up because they would send an attachment with it of like the Slender Man. Do you remember that? There was, or they would it would be a picture of someone with a ghoul or a ghostly creature in the background. And they're like, this person didn't send it to 10 people, and now he's fucking lured in by this creepy guy. I was like, all right, who else do I know? Because I'm trying to. I sent it to my mom twice. I'm like, well, this is gonna work out. She's just gonna send it back to me, but this is bullshit. Go to bed. I'm like, all right, well, sorry. Anyways, that's my shit on it. Another, I don't know, some wild shits like.
What about the Vanishing Lady or the Vanishing Hitchhiker?
The Hitchhiker.
I don't know anything about the freaking Hitchhiker one.
Really? Those are two different stories.
Can we talk about Men in Black?
You want to talk about Men in Black?
Yeah,
bro.
I honestly thought it was just a movie until we found out that it was more than like, and it was actual.
But there's no aliens, so why do we need Men in Black?
There's no aliens because of the Men in Black, Joe. The people who speak up about aliens no longer exist. They're gone, vanished off the face of the planet. Men in Black took care of that shit.
That mind wiping device with the flash. I'm sorry, something like that definitely exists. I believe that there is something that the CIA has that, I'm sorry, yes, can like wipe certain things or a certain amount of your memory or whatever. Absolutely.
I agree. I think that's true. Listen,
I don't know.
When we get into a whole topic about aliens, we could bring up Men in Black again because that is something we want to get more into detail about.
That's true.
To kind of wrap this up, what you're talking about, the Vanishing Lady and the Vanishing Hitchhiker, those are two different stories. The Vanishing Hitchhiker, are you familiar with it, or the Vanishing Lady?
I know more about the Vanishing Hitchhiker. The Vanishing Lady, I kind of more once we started researching.
You explain the Vanishing Hitchhiker, and I'll explain the Vanishing Lady. And Joe, you can
I'll listen.
You could listen
because I don't know shit about.
Well, not even you didn't want to do definitions anyway. All right, go ahead. You do the Vanishing Lady.
So the Vanishing Lady is an urban legend that was from Paris, where a young lady and her mother check into a hotel, and the girl goes on some type of I forgot why they were in Paris, but whatever it was, they were doing some like international exposition or whatever the case is. The daughter leaves the mom at the hotel, and she goes to do her thing. When she comes back, the mom, she's there for work. I don't know, Joe. I didn't talk to her recently.
Very irresponsible.
What I'm trying to say. All right, the mom and the daughter check into a hotel. The daughter goes and does whatever they went there for, the work, the exposition, whatever. When the daughter comes back, she noticed that the mom is gone and the room has been changed. So she goes to the front desk and she's like, "Where's my mother?" And I'm in room, 1408, and I can't fucking find my mom. Long story short, the hotel staff is like, "No, we've never seen this lady before. You're just checking in. We've never been here." Now, the story goes that the mom vanished and the girl went back into the hotel room. She was franticing and trying to find out what happened to the mom. She was hearing her mom, like hearing voices of her mom. Couldn't find her. It's an unsolved mystery at this point. Now, during that time, a lot of people were dying of the plague when this went. So the fear of the negative impact of the hotel, they took the mother from the hotel who had died, got rid of her body, redid the whole room, and acted as if nothing had happened so that it doesn't impact them negatively in the hotel. So that's the story of the Vanishing Lady or the Vanishing Hotel Room, whatever it is.
And then now people come there after and seen her, stuff like that.
Supposedly they just hear like, I don't know, to be honest. I guess maybe the daughter heard the mom because she had a close thing with it, or other people have heard like scratching or screeching, something like that in the hotel. again, this is a myth from Paris. So from Paris to me right now, I don't know what the hell is real, what the hell is not, but similar but different to Vanishing Hitchhiker. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Vanishing Hitchhiker is more, I mean, not as in depth as that, but it's basically also urban legend. But where people were traveling, like, you know, vehicle going across states and like whatever, and they'd see a hitchhiker on the side of the road and pick the person up, and then basically they vanish without explanation. So like pick somebody up, talking to them for a minute, blah blah blah, turn their head back, and there's nobody sitting in their car all of a sudden anymore. It's been around for centuries to where so many people have had stories to where they said that this has happened. It's not in a specific like place or a certain thing like that. Like it's been all
That's
across the
crazy.
world with a lot of different types of stories and stuff like that. But all of it says basically the same thing where they picked up somebody, whether it was a man or a woman, and then they were talking to this person, and then all of a sudden they weren't there. Basically, as if they like picked up a spirit or a ghost that was like seeing them for a little bit and then all of a sudden was gone.
Shit.
Ooh, scary.
Yeah, the crazy thing is like about that, like how we were saying about Yeti and Abominable Snowman and stuff like that. There's so many different stories about that around the world. Like, how could you say that it's not like it's too coincidental? You know what I mean? That there was so many times that happened to so many different people that like I don't know. It makes you think like, okay, had ghost kind of spirits kind of have to be real? No, like I don't know.
That's some shit.
You think we
Well,
really
yeah,
just
it
go into
is
the
kinda.
dirt? Like,
nah, definitely not. There's definitely some other shit after this life. But a lot of these myths and urban legends are passed down. Not all of them are about spirits and demons and shit. Like there's everyone's always joked about it. Like, all right, so it's like the kidney heist, right? Everyone jokes about shit like, oh, I want to wake up in a bathtub full of ice with my kidney missing. That shit actually happened to somebody, and
Yeah, it did
it's just
actually
been
happen to
told.
people.
Some guy, I think, hired a hooker or some shit like that, or met an escort at a party, went out,
Drugged them.
they spent the night at the hotel, she drugged him, and he woke up the next day. I think it was like 30 hours later or something like that,
wait,
in
so
a
Cardi B's
bathtub.
thing wasn't original?
Nah, she's been the whole drugging and robbing men has been going on for a long time.
No, I know, I'm kidding.
So the dude wakes up in a bathtub full of ice and cold water, and he's missing his whole fucking kidney. It's out, gone. And kidneys go for like $28,000 in the black market. So if y'all willing to split that shit with me, I got two of them. I don't need
Just
them
the
both.
fact that there's a black market for kidneys.
Well,
Fucking
yeah, but
wild.
think about it like this.
People will fucking sell
There's
anything.
there's a black market for everything. Anything that you can get cheaper is what the black market technically is. So that's why like even like things like
I need me
weed,
some
right? Weed is
toast.
getting legal,
Yeah.
but like even in the
I need
states
some
that we
toast.
but even like the the states that weed is legal in, there's still a black market for it because they just sell it cheaper than what the dispensaries do. You know what I mean? So a black market is just like if you need a kidney to stay alive and you're on a hospital wait list that like perfect example, my mom was on a hospital wait list twice for a heart transplant. If a heart
Oh,
didn't come up in
geez.
time for when she needed the surgery, she would have died. So like if it was coming down to the wire and she still didn't have it, like I'm sure there would have been other options where people would have been trying to look for. So like in a sense like that, where you need a kidney to live
Yeah.
and you're on the hospital wait list and you can't get one, what are you going to do? All right, I'm going to go to the black market. Maybe somebody else will sell me a kidney and I can get a doctor to put it in.
Yeah, but then
I
you
might
just
have a
show up at
lesser
the
chance of
hospital with
living
a
because
kidney in a box.
no, you
Where
would
do
have
you
to
where
go
do
to
you
no,
where do
you would
you go
have
to
to
find a
find
doctor
well, I'll
to
say
put
you'd have to
in
find a
a
black
black
market
market
doctor.
kidney?
You'd have to find a black market doctor that would do it behind closed doors and you'd pay
Mexico.
cash for like whatever. But again, the chances
Is
of
that
it
what
like
you would
actually
do?
working would be less, but at least you'd have the kidney and have the chance. Either like I'm gonna wait on this hospital wait list past the point of where I'm gonna die, or I'm gonna go to exactly like Mexico or wherever it is. I'm sure you can find someone in America too, but go on a blacklist website on a black market,
Fulton
get a
Street in
kidney,
Brooklyn.
find a doctor that would put it in, pay the money. Yeah, I
Fulton,
might not make it, but at least I had the chance to try and put the kidney in. You know what I mean? Rather than waiting and
Facts.
just dying because they didn't get it in time.
What would you do, honestly, if this was you in this situation? You had to
If it
go.
was like I had
Who are
like a
you
couple
calling?
weeks
What
left,
website are you going to find black market
I mean, there's
doctors?
plenty of black market
There's
like
been
websites on the dark web and
it's all
stuff like
taken
that.
down though. Like
But how do you get to the
Backpage.
dark web?
No, that's
Oh,
one
that's totally
website, Danny.
different.
But
You're
that's what I'm
right,
saying. The
Frank. I'm
dark
sorry.
web is still alive and kicking. I mean,
What are we
I
talking?
wouldn't know how to
eBay?
get on it, but like I'm sure that there's ways to find out or whatever. That's what I'm saying. If I was dying and it was like, oh, I only have like a month left and I'm still on this list and blah, 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 I'd start trying to look up other options online about things and how to get on the dark web and how to find a kidney or whatever. I mean, yeah, what else are you going to do?
That's some shit, man.
You don't want to die, right?
I
No.
mean,
I mean,
Nah,
I guess
you gotta
depends
put-
on how old you are and how much life you lived and whatever. But I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I got 2
This
kids
is
to
some
live for,
wild
man,
shit.
and a
Yeah,
wife.
you're right. Well, you got shit to live for. Some people do, some people don't.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, man.
A lot of these creatures and stuff that we talked about, it does seem like it sounds really far-fetched, so it's almost unbelievable for Joe. It's mostly believable for me, but then again, I'm
Mhm.
one of those people that will believe in a lot of things before I need to see it. You know what I'm saying? Wrapping it up, I do feel like there have been a lot of things that we've talked about where
Really, I feel like we only touched like the tip of the iceberg on myths and urban
On-
legends as a whole.
We didn't even talk about good
on the
old Nessie.
whole,
Yeah, like chupacabra, and like I don't know. There's just like so many different like myths and urban legends out there. Like we talked a lot about a lot of mythological creatures and like certain other like myths and legends, but like there's so many out there. There's just so many that if you look up, like you could have a whole podcast just on myths and freaking urban legends. There's so many. This was just like our opinion on certain ones that like we knew about growing up or that we know about to talk about, or you know what I mean. But like if you really looked it up, dude, there's so many out there.
there's a lot of them.
There's so
But
many.
a lot of it is smaller shit. Like
Fun
Napoleon
stuff.
Yeah,
wasn't so
sub-stories.
short, you know. George Washington didn't have wooden teeth. Everybody swallows 8 spiders in their sleep, shit like that. Where it's like
Yeah.
that's just urban legends. Just people gum doesn't digest for 7 years in your belly, shit like
What
that.
about like Mythbusters? Like even like stuff like will duct tape hold
That's
a
a
car,
cool
this, that.
show.
But I'm saying like, you know what I mean? There's so many different myths and urban legends as a whole that we just went more in like to like the
On the creature side,
creature story and like, you know, older time stuff. But like, yeah,
Joe
there's
and his boy
so
Dracula say what
many.
up.
The Count. Ah, ha, ha.
Von Stinky Vinky. Ah.
All right. Well, I guess that's myths and urban legends.
That is myths and urban legends.
Again,
That's
everybody,
some
thank
of
you.
myths.
Thank you for all the support.
Yes, it's been
so
real.
Cancel culture we put on
Thank
YouTube.
you very much. Thank you very much.
We finally got the videos up to put out now. So this one will be up on YouTube. The last one was on YouTube. YouTube has been awesome. I have to say, like through Buzzsprout and through like all our podcast streaming platforms, like we're still doing good. Don't get me wrong, things are going well. But putting the first episode out on YouTube skyrocketed past
Really?
the cancel culture. Yeah, like the numbers
Good
for cancel
stuff, man.
culture as an individual episode for just the audio compared to the video. I guess a lot more people wanted
People
to watch
want to
us.
see what we look like.
People want to see us.
Ah,
So
my
I'm
good thing you
hoping
shaved, man.
I'm hoping that continues. But yeah, guys, please go subscribe to our YouTube page, like, follow our episodes, please.
Tell them what the page is.
Follow Specialists of Nothing, all one word, all lowercase, on YouTube.
I would have never guessed.
And then same thing as you know, our same email, Facebook, Instagram. Please, guys, go continue to follow.
We love
like,
hearing from
share
you.
us out.
The reviews are fantastic. The feedback is great. Yeah, I mean, thank you for the follows and the shares, the likes, the comments, all that shit.
Yeah.
For individual reach outs. Appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess that wraps it up.
I'm fucking
Until
drunk.
next time.
All right, you guys
Next
have a
week.
good night.